Hello, writers. Today we're going to think about how dialogue advances your story. Writers can move their stories along and make them more interesting by adding dialogue. A student asks, "What is dialogue?" The teacher answers, "Dialogue is when you show that a person is talking. You put quotation marks around what the character actually said." The student looks puzzled. "I don't get it," she says finally. But hopefully you do get it. You can see in this example that we are using dialogue. So up here, the student asks, "What is dialogue?" And you can see that there is quotation marks here and then at the end. So exactly what the person says is framed with the quotation marks. Okay. And then you move to a new paragraph because every time someone is speaking, you want to go to the next paragraph. So the teacher answers, and then the teacher's saying, dialogue is when you show that a person is talking. So it starts here. The teacher's still talking. You put quotation marks around what the character actually said. After the punctuation goes the end quotation marks. And then the student again is saying, "I don't get it." And you can see quotation marks and quotation marks. So one of my wonderful third grade students used dialogue in her blog post, and I felt like it really added nice touch to her story about getting her cheer award. So she starts with, "Are you a cheerleader?" "I am. And I cheer for the Hawks. I also go to competitions. But when I was 7 years old, I got a huge trophy for a Spirit Award, and I will tell you all about it." This is back when I was 7. I was in the car with my mom and my sister and my grandma. We were going to this big cheer thing to get our awards. "I love getting awards," I said. So here she's using dialogue. "I love getting awards," I said. My sister interrupted me. "No, I love getting awards." Then there was a whole argument. "Enough, you two," my mom yelled. Me and my sister were quiet for a few minutes. Okay. And then Sabrina goes on and writes about her wonderful experience getting her cheer award. But I love that she included dialogue in this section. I could hear her and her sister arguing, and then her mom saying, "No, both of you stop." Okay, when you are using dialogue, the dialogue tag tells the reader who is talking. If you don't use the tag, then the reader has to figure out who's talking on their own. But if you are going to tag the dialogue, you can use it at the end of the sentence, you can use it at the beginning or in the middle. And again, if you don't tag it, then the reader just has to do a little more work to figure out who's talking. Most people often will tag at the end. So here's an example. And you can see there is those quotation marks again. "I really enjoy chocolate chip pancakes," Mrs. Sokolowski remarked as she took another bite. You could also tag in the beginning. Mrs. Sokolowski joyfully took a bite, saying, "I just love chocolate chip pancakes." You can also tag in the middle and have the person start talking and then finish. "Out of all the pancakes in the world," Mrs. Sokolowski said reflectively, "chocolate chip pancakes are the best." So you can tag in any of those places. Okay, so how do we punctuate dialogue? So let's say that I was saying, "It is a beautiful day." Okay, so before you have the words that the character is actually saying, you want to put your quotation marks. Okay, and then if that's the end of my sentence, I'm going to put a comma instead of a period, and then my quotation marks, and then I can say Mrs. Sokolowski said. If my tag is at the beginning, right, then I'm going to say Mrs. Sokolowski said, then I'm going to put my comma, then my quotation marks. "It is a beautiful day." If I want to tag it in the middle, again, I have to start with my quotation marks. "It is a beautiful day, comma, Mrs. Sokolowski noticed, and the flowers are really growing." Period. End of quotation marks. Okay, so that is how we punctuate our dialogue. Okay, now we're going to try it. So let's add dialogue to this paragraph. This paragraph could use a little bit of help to be more interesting, and dialogue will help. So I'm going to read it, and then I want you to pause this video and try to think about how you add dialogue to this paragraph. How could you rewrite it and have the characters actually talk, including dialogue? Okay. Alex said he saw a mouse, and then Megan screamed. I stood up on the chair and wondered where the mouse was. Alex looked around for the mouse. Megan told me to call 911. I did not like mice at all, but did not think calling 911 was the right thing to do. I did not know how we would solve this problem. Okay, so in that paragraph, there's just a lot of telling about what's happening, but you could rewrite it and think about having the characters actually do the talking. So you could pause it and try to rewrite it, and then play it again when you're ready. Mouse! Shouted Alex, pointing to the corner of the room. Megan screamed, ah! As she jumped on top of a chair. I don't see him now, Alex said, bending down, but I am sure I saw him run into that corner. Call 911! Call 911! Megan sobbed. I sighed. I think 911 has bigger things to worry about right now than a little mouse in our house, I told her, but privately I wished someone could come make that mouse go away for good. Okay, so it's the same story, really, as you saw over here, but you can notice how dialogue brings you right into the action and helps you, move through the story in a more fun way. So writers, today and every day, you can use dialogue to move your story along and make it more interesting. When you write today, try to find a place to use dialogue. If you are already using dialogue in your writing, try tagging it in a different spot, like maybe the beginning or the middle. We cannot wait to see what you write.